is some breaking news that is coming through from Lumezi. As you may be aware, this week should be on Thursday. There are going to be by-elections in Lumezi, and the ECZ has addressed the nation through a letter. So earlier on, these images that were circulating online to say police ready for Lumezi by-elections. But just a couple of hours ago, mostly an hour ago, Electoral Commission of Zambia put up a statement on the ballot papers for Lumezi by-elections. So they put up a statement simply stating to say one of the candidates' name was missing, and that's the UPND candidate, the ruling government's candidate, according to the news reports coming from Movie TV. So the Lumezi constituency ballot papers have been printed. However, ruling party candidate's surname has been omitted. Your thoughts on the matter, they ask. So that's a ballot paper shared by Movie TV, and ECZ put up a statement with regard to that. Patriotic Front also weighed in, say Lumezi UPND candidate not on ballot will Electoral Commission of Zambia cancel elections. So that's a Patriotic Front asking as things stand. And yeah, so in an interaction, according to what the ECZ put up, let me read part of it. Meanwhile, ECZ acknowledged that the omission, stating that all other details on the ballot paper were correctly printed. In a statement to the media, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Kasoro said that the matter is being treated with the urgency and seriousness. He noted that the Commission is conducting a thorough review to identify the cause and implement corrective measures in line with the electoral laws and procedures. Anyway, they still have, I think, 48 hours before those elections, so the correction can be done, realistically speaking. And then breaking news, the Lusaka Magistrate Court has granted former Mfue Member of Parliament, Maureen Mawonga, 50,000 kwacha cash bail pending appeal, with 2 working sureties to pay 20,000 each. So the Mfue former Member of Parliament has been granted bail. So I do not know how this works with regard to the by-elections that have been announced in Mfue. Does it affect the by-elections, or those by-elections still proceed next month? But as things stand, she's out of prison on bail, pending appeal as her case continues. But on the other hand, with regard to the funeral service of the former head of state, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, it's 17 hours, 7 minutes, 34 seconds away. So there's a registration website that has been put across by the Patriotic Front, sharing the details of those that intend to attend. But I'm pretty sure by now it must have filled out from the time that they announced it. And then those are some of the details. So it's going to take place tomorrow, Wednesday. And then, yeah, pretty much everything is set. A number of people have flown out of the country going to attend the same burial service. So the aquarium mass for former President Edgar Lungu will be held in Johannesburg, South Africa, date Wednesday, 25th June 2025 at 11 hours Central African time. And then Archbishop Alik Banda of Lusaka is the one who's going to conduct the service. The venue and address is Cathedral of Christ the King, 186 Nugget Street, Hillbrow, Johannesburg. So those are some of the details you might want to know. And then also details of the program has also been shared. People are having conversation over this. So according to the service program, at 10 a.m., the VIPs and family will arrive at the location. 10:30 public seating, and begins 11 hours. Requiem mass commences. 11:15 opening rites and prayer. 11:45 the word, and then Eucharist at 12:30, and the final commendation. And then at 13:30, that's when they will proceed to a private burial. So as the emphasis there. So I guess the private burial, those are the ones that are going to likely have the preview of doing the body viewing, and then the rest will just be part of the mass. But as I was preparing this live stream, a news headline has broken also from government, the government of Zambia. I'll give you the update as we go on, but this has just broken right now. And then there was also news to say someone had provided transportation for those that could not afford flights. They could go to Intercity, like that's last night, because it takes pretty much the whole day to travel between Zambia and South Africa if you're going by road. So those that went by road traveled. There was this announcement that was posted by Chombaka Oma. Said, for those who would want to be part of the funeral in South Africa, kindly make your way to intercity with your passport. Free transport available. Good luck. So he had put up that announcement. So it seems like whoever was able to catch it, if it wasn't just a political statement, might have used that announcement for that. What is Chifetayari weighs in, he says, Pakushika, do not put cement because we will go and exhume that body when we will be back in power. But now none of you should campaign on bringing the body in Zambia because you are leaving it there. So Chifetayari was saying, we shouldn't allow these bitter people to turn around and start campaigning that they want to bring the body in Zambia when they are the ones who have decided to bury it in South Africa. So that's Chief Etayari advising whoever is in South Africa to say, do not put cement on whatever grave that they're going to use tomorrow because no one really knows the location apart from the people that have traveled to South Africa. So he says they better not put cement on that grave. He goes further to say, by now we would have been negotiating for our amnesty since our commander is gone, referring to Edgar Chagalungu. But those political vouchers have made these things worse. You better, you better as space for the same private grave. Then also, he goes further to say, this is very embarrassing for our country and the president taking nonsense to international media. You think you will just come back and continue ranting. So he says that in as much as you're doing all that, this is Chifetayari, when you come back here, you're going to find President Hakainde Hichilema, your fellow man. As Chifetayari's ranting is there. But these are some of the images that came from South Africa, where Given Lubinda was comforting the former First Lady, Esther Lungu, at the memorial, at the funeral house there. And then also, our 60th president, Edgar Lungu, was an asset of the people of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema. So that's an extract that was taken from a statement earlier on. Civil society organizations went to State House to meet up with President Hakainde Hichilema to engage him of the possibility of one of them was to cancel, is it the bulletin that the UPND has presented to Parliament, and also with regard to the funeral service of Edgar Chagalungu, to which he attested to say, as a government, they still stand on their point to say they would prefer the funeral to be done in Zambia, considering, the burial to be done in Zambia, considering he was an asset to the nation. So that's why that extract was given. More was said during the press brief, but I'll give you as we go on with this podcast. And then also, since I was elected into office, I read the Constitution a lot to avoid making mistakes. Hakainde Hichilema, that's still part of the statements that the head of state was giving during that interaction with the CSOs. But these are images that are coming from South Africa, where a number of Zambians that have traveled to attend that burial program were comforting the former First Lady. And obviously, given Katuka, member of parliament, she says they wanted us to follow on TV. Tomorrow it is their turn to follow the funeral proceedings of President Edgar Chagalungu on SABC TV. So she says that's a member of parliament that put up that statement. She says no, they wanted some people to be watching it via the NBC, but now it's them that are going to watch it via SABC there. Images still from the Morning House in South Africa. But earlier on today, the First Lady was supposed to be in court. As you may be aware, the former First Lady was supposed to be in court. As you may be aware, she still has a number of pending court cases in court. So according to them on TV, to say Esther Lungu theft trial set to resume today, but obviously she didn't fly back in the country, and obviously people are asking to say, oh, the court cases are still proceeding. If you remember, Makebi Zulu had also said no. Part of the negotiations that government and the Lungu family were having, it was never presented to say part of the conditions was for them to cancel the court cases that are proceeding, and that just proved that. And then obviously the court adjourns Esther Lungu's theft case amid mourning circumstances. So that court case that was supposed to take place has been adjourned. Reason everyone is aware, the former First Lady is in South Africa, and obviously she's at the center of the ceremony that is likely to take place tomorrow. That's if what government has put across does not change anything. And then part of the interaction during the State House interaction of President Hakainde Hichilema and the CSOs, he also states that yes, differences. I said, even if somebody says there are issues, yes, there may be always issues, but in death, we converge and honor the dead and bury, and then bury them decently. After the burial, we talk about everything we were unhappy about President Hakainde Hichilema. So he was putting across a point to say, in as much as there may be differences that may be occurred between late President Edgar Chagwa and the sitting President Hakainde Hichilema, that can be resolved afterwards. At this moment, the entire nation needed to come together. Those are the people that went to State House to have that interaction with the head of state, Hakainde Hichilema. And then obviously, he also stated to say his immunity was never removed, referring to President Edgar Chagwa immunity. But this is the breaking news that has just come up, because the president says there was a possibility that they are still negotiating with the government. But this is what has come up. This was just posted just a couple of minutes ago, 13 minutes ago to be specific. So breaking, Attorney General Kabesha moves to stop Lungu burial in South Africa. So as you may be aware, a number of Zambians have already flown to South Africa, and a number are flying right now as I'm speaking. Some may prefer to fly early in the morning, because South Africa is very close to Zambia. Mostly, depending on where you catch your flight from, it's 2 hours or less flight. If you're catching it from Livingston, probably even less. And where you're landing at, that's where it all matters. But so the Attorney General has sued. So the details are that the burial for former President Edgar Chagwa scheduled for South Africa tomorrow may be hampered by legal proceedings that have been instituted by the Zambia's Attorney General, Mulilo Kabesha, in Gauteng Division of the High Court of South Africa, Pretoria. So the suit, which is directed against former First Lady Esther Lungu and 4 of Lungu's children, along with the family lawyer Makebi Zulu and company, running the company that running the morgue where the remains of the body of the former head of state are being kept, seeking interim court order to prevent the burial of Lungu, who died in South Africa about 3 weeks ago now. So Attorney General is requesting that the burial, no burial take place until all disputes regarding Dr. Edgar Chagwa final resting place be resolved, specifically whether it should be entered into Zambia or with full military honors as customs and traditions as mandated by the Zambian law and in keeping with public interest. In his application, the Attorney General has contends that the state funeral for former Zambian head of state is a formal public event governed by strict military protocols and intended to honor individuals of national significance. Kabesha further argues that even if it were true at a point, even if it were true, a point he denies that the late president wished not to have a state funeral. Such personal wishes must yield to the greater public interest. And then Attorney General also cites that the legal precedents, noting that the Zambian courts previously set aside the burial wishes of nation's founding president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, in favor of the public interest consideration relating to the intermittent at Embassy Park. So that's the argument that the government is putting across. The federal saying those named in the lawsuit include former First Lady Esther Lungu, Betha Lungu, that's a sister to the former head of state Edgar Lungu, Tasira Lungu, that's a Chawama member of parliament and daughter to Edgar Chagwa, Chieso Lungu, that's the other daughter that recently just flew to South Africa, should have been yesterday or the day before, and then Dadiso Lungu, and then Charles Piri and Makebi Zulu. So those are the ones named in the lawsuit. And then the Attorney General has additionally named two mountains morgue where Dr. Lungu's remains are currently held as a respondent. The action has been brought before the Pretoria High Court under Article 177, subsection 5 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia in Attorney General's capacity as government representative and prosecutor of the Zambian public interest, hearing the interim intended application against the barrio is expected to be held tomorrow, Wednesday, 25th June at 8 hours in the morning. So there's a lawsuit. The Zambian government has sued those named individuals there, and then the Attorney General is representing the Zambian interest. So they say that lawsuit is going to be held tomorrow at 8 hours. Let's wait and see how that plays out, because if you remember, the argument that South Africa was putting across is that they've got their own laws, so I do not know if that holds, but then let's wait and hear what comes of that. And then another thing that the head of state had said, President Naga Indech, was that I learned that former President Edgar Lungu had passed away early in the morning, but the family refused to engage me. I couldn't make the announcement. So he says, if you remember earlier on, there was an argument to say, why didn't the head of state address the nation about the passing of Edgar Chagwa. So the President Naga Indech was simply stating, contrary to public news, he was actually aware of the death of the late president early in the morning, pretty much around the same time that he passed on. So those that were arguing to say, why didn't he address the nation? He says, immediately after the length of that, they tried to engage the family. Obviously, the family wasn't willing, as you can hear. Say, I was willing to announce Lungu's death, but the family refused to engage us. So they waited until the family did the announcement. Then they put up that statement. That's what President Hakainde said earlier on during that engagement. But as things stand right now, Zambian government has sued pretty much the former First Lady and the Lungu family, demanding that that burial does not take place tomorrow. As people have already flown in, and we wait and see. And the court session is scheduled for tomorrow, 8 hours. So I'm pretty sure the verdict will be given as swift as possible. What is Fred Bembo has also been a question to say, how come he's going to attend, because Fred Bembo has flown out, he's going to South Africa. Pretty much a number of notable individuals have flown to South Africa, others are going by road, but people are asking to say, you and Lungu were not in good books. And then he said, me, I reconciled with Edgar Chagwa Lungu in 2023. So beyond that, we've been brothers. So him not attending his funeral is not in the picture. So Fred Bembo was just justifying that. And then these are some of the pictures that have already flown. Sean Tembo flew out, should have been early in the morning today, going to South Africa, and he put up those images. And another group of individuals, you can see who else was in this picture. Kapwepwe's daughter is one of the people that has flown out. So Mlenga Kapwepwe is one of the people that have gone to South Africa for that funeral. That's if it takes place and it's not cancelled, based off that lawsuit that has been pushed by the Zambian government here. More images. This is when Fred Bembo was flying out earlier on. So we have left for Johannesburg, South Africa, to put to rest our dearest brother and friend Edgar Chagwa Lungu there. So those are the images at KKI earlier on. But one person that has been crying, and today he opened up to the truth, was Shifetayari. He says, Lord help me, it is the devil that tempted me. So you're simply regretting what he did. He was regretting his decision pretty much to Fetari. So he was like, no, I lived a good life. Let me just read what he put up. And then he put up his image of him and his wife, where they used to jog, pretty much the life that he had. Now he's a fugitive who ran away on a self-imposed exile. So he says, my life was just okay. We would wake up early in the morning with my wife and go jogging until until the ghost entered me. To go and wake Lungu, thinking he would come back and beat Hakainde Hichilema in a return match at Ebwelenapo he attaches. Unfortunately, Lungu was not a decisive player and his own Mingalato, and allowed others to manipulate him. Today, Lungu is gone, and I am stranded here politically, while vultures are busy manipulating him, even in his death and burial shrouded by obscenity and manipulation and bitterness. The Zambian people will not find closure because the vultures still seek to manipulate this man even in his death. Away from that, I will wait for you to bury him, then I will speak after the burial tomorrow. That's if the burial takes place. So we'll wait and see if that court case is heard based on that decision that the Zambian government has decided to take. But Chifetayari is simply regretting his decision. What is Sabini Ompundunkana, member of parliament, says Edgar Chagwa Lungu gave us an opportunity to lead Kitwe as mayor and district commissioner, and we will entirely be grateful for the opportunity that he gave us to and a stage to showcase our potential at leadership, and from there on got elevated to parliament. So it's simply there. That's kind of Bino Mpunda and his friend said Edgar Lungu is the one that gave them the opportunity. Hence, they're in South Africa for that memorial. I mean, that burial actually, if it takes place tomorrow. More people, Santon, South Africa there, another delegation you can see there. Pretty much a number of people in South Africa. What is the mass newspaper says, stay away, Hakainde them advise it would be suspicious if he forcefully goes to South Africa for Edgar Chagalungu's burial, activist there in the mass newspaper. I suppose the president is likely not to go to South Africa. Instead, there's that lawsuit that has been filed by the Attorney General, and then churches and CSOs opposed Bill 7. That's the reason why they had gone to State House to meet the head of state there. That's in the money. And then, yeah, so South Africans recently have also been come out sober, because if you remember earlier on, they were very, these Zambians, they are coming to stay and stuff like that. But I'm glad the elderly within South Africa were able to coach the young ones to say Zambia has actually been a big brother for most countries in Southern region. We've been like a refugee point, both the bit Angolans, Mozambicans, South Africans, the time they were in the struggle, Zimbabweans. So, and we've never really called down the favor since then. We will just do it because we've been the big brother in the region. So it's good that now South Africans have sobered up. I've been seeing a number of interviews that they've been giving where they're acknowledging to say Zambia actually played their role in their liberation. So that's good that they've sobered up, and the elderly within South Africa have educated the young generation that were excited and simply making comments that were misinformed. But otherwise, that's how things stand. There's a lawsuit that has been filed by the Zambian government. We wait and see how that plays out. But here's part of the people that left in the morning.